Hello friends, it is I once more, OmnusI here in my lair, along with my sidekick, Magic the Cat. Say hi, Magic. No? She probably won't be here through this whole video, so... But, today, we're answering another question from the RPG Brigade of Facebook, as part of the RPG A Day Challenge. Today is the 22nd of August. And the question at hand is, which non-dice system appeals to you? Say goodbye, Magic. She doesn't like the screen time so much. As... Well, we'll see. But, as I've said, I've played a number of games. Many of them use dice to determine resolutions for things that are in doubt, that could succeed or could fail. And oftentimes they detail the intensity, how badly they fail or how well they succeed. So, dice are only one way, though, of solving, resolutions and things like that. And even within games that use dice, there are oftentimes non-dice means of resolving situations. I'm going to, however, talk about an older game, out of print, sadly, that used non-dice methods and had some mechanics that I really enjoyed. The game, it's going to be a little show and tell today. The game was the Marvel Superheroes Adventure game using a system called the Saga system, which is card-based. Now what I like about this game is, out of all of the different games that I've played for superheroes, this one is probably the one that lets you feel the most like being in a comic book. The action is madcap and fast-paced. There's not a lot of deliberation. There's never looking up rules. It's all... Well, the core mechanic of the game is based on a specialized deck of cards. And the cards are arranged in suits, just like a normal deck. But instead, those suits are based off of your attributes. You've got intellect, willpower, strength, and agility. And you also have one other suit called Doom. Now, it's fairly straightforward. The more experienced of a character your hero is, and they have a pretty good selection of all of the different characters in the Marvelverse. So if you want a pre-generated character that you already know from the comics or the movies, have at it. But if you make up your own character, your character has a pool of cards, and when you take damage, you lose cards from that pool. So you get slower, less effective as you go, but you can still pull off that superheroic stunt every now and again. But to do everything, you lay out a card. If the card is of the suit of whatever it is you're trying to do, if you're trying to do something strength-based and you play a strength card, that is trump for that. Dirty word, but anyway, it's trump, and that means that you could then draw a card from the deck and add it to that, and if that's also the trump, then you can add another one, allowing you to get some really, really high numbers if you keep in your hand the cards that you need. Whenever you do anything, though, you pretty much play a card out of your hand and add that number to your attribute. So, cards go pretty fast. It's a very fast-paced game. Cards are always entering and leaving your hand quickly. And for the most part, the players will generally try not to play cards out of the Doom suit. But sometimes you just can't avoid it. Either your hand gets clogged up with these little Doom cards, or the allure of power gets to you. You see, all of the suits, the top card you can have is a 9 value, which adds quite a bit onto your attribute. The Doom suit has a 10, Dr. Doom himself. And there's only one of those 9s for each of those other suits. So there is an 8, a 9, and a 10 of the Doom suit. So eventually you're going to look at a very big numbered card in your hand. The temptation to use it will be there. The Doom suits can never be used as trump, but they can be handy to give you a high-power card when you need it. The downside is, if you play a Doom card, it doesn't go to the discard pile, it goes over to a special Doom pile for the storyteller. And the storyteller can take those Doom cards and use them to impose a penalty at a dramatically appropriate moment as a setback for the heroes. So, for example, in the example they give in the book, Spider-Man is attempting to save J. Jonah Jameson for some reason. And he... this is after, dodging a blast by Electro and diving down a building to snatch Jameson from being splattered on the ground. And Spidey lays the right card, and he gets this really high test because he's Spider-Man. He's amazing. And he grabs him. But he had to play a Doom card to avoid the first round of combat with Electro. So the storyteller takes the Doom card and he says, well, Jameson, in a panic because he doesn't like Spider-Man, pulls out his ballpoint pen and stabs Spider-Man in the hand as he tries to grab him, and lays the Doom card that puts it just out of reach of the wall crawler. So that's a failure. Now let's see what the story picks up after that. Will Spider-Man then use his webbing ability to snag Jameson, along with a few pithy quips? It's all certainly appropriate, and it tells for a more interesting game. So that's an interesting mechanic. I like a lot of the mechanics that went into this. Every card is a resolution system for either an aura, positive, neutral, or negative, if it just comes up to a coin toss. Each one also can be flipped over for inspiration for an event to happen. It's got a little event that could happen that, if action is stalling, you can quickly have something happen, just like it happens in a comic book. If the X-Men are just shopping all of a sudden. Let's do this. Flip. Personal tragedy. Oh my gosh, a person, one of Jubilee's friends, falls off of from clowning around on top of an escalator and falls. That could certainly be personal, and it could be very tragic. The heroes have to decide whether or not they're going to use their mutant powers and save the person, or watch what happens. Well, the heroes being heroic will probably do something, which means they aren't going to be welcome in that mall again. And their world gets a little bit grimmer, but you've told a story. There was a D&D based version on it, but it was coupled to Dragonlance's 5th Age, which is not my favorite part of the Dragonlance series. And it got more complicated. There were even more suits. A total of 8, I believe, which was a bit more cumbersome. Was never anything I really courted that much, but I collected because I had to have it. They did, I believe, make things like modules and such for them, but outside of the core cards, that's all I got for the Dragonlance 5th Age saga set. For the Marvel, I did get almost everything except for the actual individual adventures. And I've done everything from a one-off right after the Deadpool movie, which was a lot of fun. I invited my non-gamer friends to come over, and we played a game using the Saga system. It's elegant and simple enough that my non-gamer friends picked it up and played characters set in with the concept of, I believe it was, what happened if Deadpool ended up with a cosmic cube. It was an entertaining story. So, that is my non-dice system that I think it suits me the best. For just madcap action without looking up a lot of stats and rules. Very nice, light, very rules light, but still so much that you can do with it. And that does it for me. I'm OmnusI, here at the Lair again. Thank you for joining me. Again, if you like this, please share, subscribe, comment especially what you think about things like that. And if you get a chance to check out this game, it is a fun game. There's a small amount of resources for it, not a lot, but the internet really took off. And almost any character that's ever been in Marvel, you can find stats that somebody homebrewed or adventure ideas and stuff. There's a decent community out there for it. So Highly recommend it. Thank you once more, and I hope you have many safe and super adventures. Farewell.